welcome to InCharge, where you'll get the news from the source. From those in charge in their organizations, leaders from different industries who are making an impact in the society today. I'm Nicole Cordoves, your host. Today we have with us Rafael Jose Consing Jr. in charge of the Maharlika Investment. So, Mr. Consing, the Maharlika Investment, we've heard a lot about it, but don't really know a lot about it at the same time. So, can you please educate us about that right now?
Sure. So Maharlika is the collaborative vehicle of the government in being able to crowd in capital from foreign direct investors or also domestic investors. So the fund was established in July of 2023, and we've started operations. Our first board meeting occurred in January 3rd of this year, and we're currently building up the organization.
How will this contribute to the country?
Quite significantly, in my opinion. So if you don't mind, I'm going to step back. If you look at the GDP, roughly about 70% is coming from personal consumption, and about 24% is coming from direct investments, and we've got about 20% from government spending, and about 14-15% of a trade deficit. And our view basically is that once we start investing, particularly around the vision that we've created, i.e. investing in the rural areas, investing in what they call SPUG areas, that would be small power utility groups when it comes to energy, and also and also investing in what they call GIDA areas, or geographically isolated and disadvantaged areas, which if you put them together on a map, they actually have a lot of touch points. So when we invest in energy and in digital connectivity, we believe that we'll be able to crowd in capital wholesale. And when that happens, you'll see, I would say, greater spending power coming from the rural areas, which impacts your 70% personal consumption. And you will also be able to attract investments wholesale, which in turn impacts your investments. So hence, that's how it'll be affecting GDP.
Right. Sir, how come this vehicle did not exist for the longest time? And it has been trying to be pushed.
Yes.
So why now? Why do you think this is a good time for it? Do we have the right people for it?
Well, in my opinion, it's an idea whose time really has come. You're absolutely correct. This has been thought of before. As a matter of fact, if you look at history, we have the NDC. So in one shape or form, this is already created before. But in its current shape, I believe that it's an idea whose time has come. If you look at the law, it gives us significant breadth in terms of asset classes, geography, and sectors where we can invest. But that said, in its nascent stage, given the investment needs of the economy, we've decided that we will steer this company as a national development fund in its nascent stage. And what does that mean? That basically means investing locally. There are three basic differences between what we have now and the way we're going to be running it compared to the other sovereign wealth funds. First, it's collaborative. First is it has an intergenerational perspective. So very long term. Okay? So we play the long game. Second is it is collaborative in nature. So for example, an ordinary or typical sovereign wealth fund, when they invest in markets, it will move on its own, meaning you will be generating your value out of the stock market price. For example, if you're investing in public markets. In our case, it doesn't work that way. We basically invest in real businesses, in real businesses, and such businesses or such investments require the collaboration with other parties, and hence it's collaborative in nature. And then a third, it's domestically focused. Okay, if I can just give an example, in digital connectivity, for example, when we start building those towers in the GIDA areas, we are aiming to impact four sectors. First would be the agricultural sector. Today, even if they wanted, for example, to make use of IoT, to be able to, let's say, measure the humidity of the land, the moisture level, to determine the point at which they would then begin harvesting and ways by which they can increase their productivity and yield, they can't do that now because there's no broadband access. So by creating that, they will gain access to that. Okay? But that said, the fact that you put digital and broadband connectivity doesn't automatically mean that they'll be able to make use of IoT. They need to be trained. And that's why it's collaborative in nature, right? And the second sector that we hope to be able to achieve would be the education sector. Help, rather, would be the education sector. If you look at where, to my mind, if you look at where the biggest digital divide exists, it's in the education sector. So the quality of education that's taught in the urban areas is very different, in my opinion, to the one that they teach in the rural areas, just because of access to information. So again, hopefully, by building and giving them access to broadband connectivity, that they will be able to, at the very least, catch up with the information that's being provided to students found or study in the urban areas. Third would be the healthcare sector. So today, the Philippines has got very terrible doctor to population ratio. It's roughly about 1 doctor per 26,000 people. To put that in perspective, the United Nations would like for us to achieve 1:1,000. Singapore is 1:1,375. We're at 1:26,000. So you can imagine the lack of access to healthcare. And we believe that by providing digital platform or digital connectivity, we would be able to help them. We'll be able to help the barrio doctors, hopefully by getting investors to come in and provide telehealth care, right? So hence, even if they're alone in the barrio, they can actually gain access to a host of doctors through technology.
Right.
And then the fourth would be being able to assist the domestic entrepreneurs, because hopefully with digital connectivity, they'll be able to access or tap into a wider market than who they're selling to, without hopefully the need for a middleman, right? And through apps, perhaps. And so these are the 4 areas that we hopefully be able to help by rolling out our digital infrastructure.
Sir, this is a gargantuan challenge to take on. And despite its noble intentions, you can't avoid the surrounding politics around it, in a way. Yeah.
Okay.
So why did you say yes to the job? What drove you to brave through the decision and see this project through? I'm just really curious.
Okay, so I was asked this before in another interview, and I'll give you the same answer. I felt it was time to give back. And I felt that this is the best way to give back. It's something which I know how to do. I was a CFO for the last 8 years and treasurer before that at ICTSI. And prior to that, I was an 18 years a banker. And I was doing a lot of M&A. So I feel that this is my calling. That's number one. And second is, I felt that if Maharlika will be executed, it needs to be executed well. And I felt that, I'm sorry to say, but I don't trust anyone else to be able to do it. Right? And I felt that.
So if not you, then who?
I don't want to sound arrogant. But
Yeah. No, it's okay. It came from me.
yeah, but I feel that I'm very well positioned to be able to execute on this.
I just asked that question because it really takes a sincere vocation to say yes to such a big mission like this.
Yes.
So yeah. So thank you so much for your time, sir,
Thank
and
you.
sharing your thoughts. Thank you. We
Thank you.
appreciate it. Thank you,
Pleasure.
sir.